First of all, thank you everybody for being here. I know quite a strange time, 12, as everybody want to have some lunch, and I can understand that too. So thanks again. Maybe as a quick introduction, spring release, you know what we do at Actito, 4 major release a year, where we try to push new features to the market so that you as marketers can go further in the customer journey with your customers and really engage those conversations. Of course, with the famous 4 letters GDPR hot topic for the moment, and we will have a special focus on that one in this session, of course. Maybe a quick introduction to the agenda. I will highlight what we call the 4 major principles around GDPR. I'm also going to do a quick focus on a demo part so that you see how we as a technological vendor tackle the GDPR. And I'm also giving the voice to a great partner of us from the company called Castio, and Nicolas Boissard, that you can also see in the video. He will present himself in a couple of seconds, and I will highly recommend you to listen to him and also to get in touch with him after. Let's start directly. So for those that don't know me yet, I'm Jonathan. I'm an evangelist here at Actito. I'm working here for more than 9 years. And my job is basically to help marketeers to leverage technology. That's really my major goal. And I try to be the voice of the customer internally. You can follow me on Twitter, ping me on LinkedIn with lots of pleasure, email address. I'm really your host, and I will demonstrate the techie part, if I can say it that way today. And I will hand over directly to my buddy, Nicolas.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nicolas. As Jonathan said, I work for Castio as a consultant, especially in marketing, data, and of course GDPR. And in the last 5 minutes of this webinar, I will try to explain you how we can help you, especially on Actito project, but also GDPR.
Cool, lovely. So me again. So main principles around GDPR, we got 4, and we call that at Actito privacy by design. So the first thing you need to do is understanding your data mapping, where your data come from, how you host it, how you document it, and we will show you how do we do that directly into Actito. There is a lot of discussion also about the data portability, so the fact that you can ask to see your data and also manipulate them in a way. And of course, something quite important for us European is the right to be forgotten. It's really that you need to be able to show that you erase data, and we'll show you a little bit how we tackle that also in Actito. And of course, all those links can be jump in with Nicolas after. And my first topic will be the explicit consent, where I will maybe just do a quick highlight, because I think there is a wrong understanding on the market about what do people expect and do with those explicit consents. Maybe just as an introduction to the topic, that is my mailbox yesterday evening around 9. And as you see, I got all those emails about we update our data privacy. We still want you to re-opt in to get my emails back. I think that is quite a very mechanical approach to the subject, and also a wrong approach. First of all, because we are a European country, and that in Europe, most of the people subscribe to receive emails. If you've done that in the past, there is no need to send those kind of things. The only risk you're taking is that people will unsubscribe, what I do a lot because it helps me to clean up my mailbox, and it doesn't bring me any value. I think that Nicolas shared this vision as well, and is also implementing already new journeys with your customer, if I'm right?
Yeah, correct. I think the right question here is to say what your customer expect from you. And as Jonathan said, it's here you can see it's really mechanical. It's just, okay, we will send an email to have the opt-in, but you have to question yourself about what your customer expect. Do you already have opt-in? And do you really need to send another email and take a risk with your customer? That's correct.
Okay, cool. So you see, we really share it. It's about bringing value to customer instead of umbrellas for marketing division and IT by a really dry approach to marketing. you need to engage with your audience. That's the goal. That's the key. So a quick image about it, and this is something we use with Nicola as well when we're thinking with the customer, thinking kind of journey and personalized journey. It's about the moments, those 0 moments of truth that Google came up with a couple of years ago is really for me the essence of very personalized marketing. It's also something you need to integrate in your processes and in your way of thinking. It's more a mindset than just a push mode. We get in the pull mode, the attract, the engage, the grow, the nurture, the cross-sell, and the retention. I would highly recommend you again to have those kind of discussion with me with a lot of pleasure, but also with Nicola that has more and more experience by doing that for major actors of the market. But that said, just keep in mind that email is far, far away from that. It's much more about that you need to work on your strategy and build really those engagements. That's really the idea. Sorry, that's Vero was opening our microphone. She is the bad one. So let's jump into the demonstration. I think that is really why you are here all today. So for those that don't know Actito marketing automation platform, European pure blood, coming out of Belgium, so we know how to tackle languages. That's why me and Nicola today are speaking Dutch, French, English. Maybe we can do it even in Spanish in the coming week. Who knows? So the idea is really this is a demo license to show you how we tackle features. First of all, keep in mind everything I'm showing today is already active for all the customers. And this is not new. That was already implemented a couple of days ago. But the idea is really now for me to show you how this works and how you can act around that directly in the platform. So top line, maybe if you go in a catalog, that is, you see how Actito is structured. It's about profiles, multi-channel. It's more than email. We're doing mobile with SMS, push notification, paper. We will talk a lot about forms, and then you see that we have also the analytic part. Sorry. For this webinar, I will focus on 2 things: how we go with forms and how you will be able to collect data, and of course. We're always talking about an upgrade we're doing on existing apps based on your feedback, but also based on what the markets expect us to do. And one of them is, of course, the documentation around data. And I will show you the upgrades we brought to the Data Studio for this. And like I said this morning, and people really like the approach, when you transfer data, and a lot of people are still doing that by email or providing us links to the Dropbox, we have our own transfer box into Actito, which make your data safe when you're trying to transfer that. So don't lose time. Let's jump in the forms, and you saw me personalizing a bit my interface around it. So because the lag that you see that some white screens is due to the fact that I stream video, but I'm also recording this session so that you can have it later on. So let's jump in. For those that have already their own design, their own graphical chart in their forms, that is still available for you because it is really on the technical part that you're taking, not the design part. So first of all, you know it, you can tweak always the design of your forms, put some headers in it, call to actions, whatever. The most important to me is in step 3. The idea behind a form is that you need to connect it directly to your database. Why? When we talk about the data mapping, the transfer, the fact that you need to show the consent, it needs to be linked to a database. So what I've done here, I will link it to the database called clients, and we will jump in directly and maybe build a form together. So how do we build the questions? There are basically different elements you need. I already prepared a little part of it with a first name and an email address. Let's try to go for that consent. So the consent is really the most important. What do you say with, and I will maybe be more precise, I will talk about a marketing consent. A marketing consent is just the fact that you will allow the company to use your data to make, for example, data crunching, analysis. They will really operate around your data, and you want them, you need to provide them this authorization. This is what I call the marketing consent. So you see that I went directly from my database because I have a question called marketing consent. I just prepare a little sentence. Again, I'm not a lawyer, and those kind of sentence can probably be highlighted by Nicola as well. But you see, I'll allow to use my personal data for marketing purposes, and you will put a link to your privacy policy. What I'm doing here, I just take a special box that says create a participant attribute enrichment. That means that as soon as the people will tick the box to yes, we will host that data, stock the data directly on the profile level. So I will click my question, and you will see that I just added a question to my form where I had already asked the first name and the last name. I think for some reason, I like to push that one as a first element so that people are really aware of what they're doing. Next step would be to have a first name, an email address. Of course, we're going back and you see question based on the database. This is also in one of the notion of the GDPR, which I think is very important. They say minimize the data you have about prospects and clients. I think this show you the data that you wish to collect, maybe step by step, but you can argue why you try to collect all those data. That is also, I think, a part very important in the GDPR, if I'm not wrong, Nicola.
Yeah.
And of the context switch, those are the kind of exercise you're doing with your customers, I think, to build your vision.
Yeah, exactly. And the good thing here is you can do that directly in Actito because it's not always the case with other provider, and you have to think about the big picture, and you have to work provider by provider on manually. And the great thing here is by design you can do that directly on the platform. So it helps a lot actually.
That's really the idea behind it. Make technology for marketers, you know.
Exactly.
So what I've done, we got the consent, I got the first name and last name and email address. Of course, we're missing something that you all have today, those famous opt-ins. And opt-ins need to have two specific elements today. You need to talk about the channel and about the type of content you want to propose to the people. Again, we prepare the job up front, and we have what we call subscription in Actito. This is not new, but I will just re-highlight that you can directly say subscriptions, create an attribute that will be enriched directly into the database. I'm validating again that question. And now what we will see is all the subscription you want to collect through time. Event email, event SMS, newsletter email, product email. Maybe that's a bit much as a first step. So what you can always do in Actito, we want you to be able to put your marketing approach, your content approach. I will just go to the encoded answers and maybe put some more context. I want to subscribe to event email. I won't talk about SMS in this time, and I also want you to subscribe to my newsletter email. Those are basically two sentences. You can, of course, work much more about the value that is behind it, and I would highly recommend you to do that. But do that, we are short in time, 30 minutes. Really want you to have your sandwich at 12:30. So I will focus on those two elements that says go for my newsletter, about general information, and about my event management. So I just updated that field, and you see that I have two lovely questions over here. Of course, there is a little extra today that we didn't have before, is everything linked to the privacy rules. As we are talking about forms, we have here the privacy agreements, and I just built a bit copy, but again, talk with your lawyers, talk with your DPOs. This is really just to give you some cake, and we will see it together. So privacy agreement and some elements I think that are important. But again, exchange with us. Nico, feel free to jump in. I think this is also a part where you can support the customers and the people into what needs to be done on that part as well.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we will explain that, at the end of the webinar in the last 5 minutes. But yeah, definitely we can help you on that.
Lovely. So what I've done at this stage is just building questions, and you see that all those questions are directly linked to my database. Again, Actito is really focusing on marketeers, and I won't say that they don't need to have any technical background, but you see that I didn't build any technical rule to enrich my database. All those fields are already pre-filled because I used elements out of my database. We are pure European blood, so we work with multi-language, yes. Dutch, French is activated in this license. We can go much further if you need it. You will have the translation part. I'm just focusing on this element in the English part. What I will do now is go to the last page and I have already that URL that could be linked into your website, and that is just what we built together in a couple of minutes, basically. And the idea behind this form is really to collect data. Oh, that's what you call the live demo. Publish form. If I forget to publish it, it won't work. So you see that you get all the validation necessary in it. Here you go. So that is basically the form I had. I'll allow basically marketing to use my data. I will say yes. My name is Jonathan Buurman and my email address is that. And basically, I would love to receive information about both. But it's also important we have this privacy button where Nicola will talk a bit later around what you need to build it. I will just open it in an extra tab. And that is basically some information that you need and that people can access directly into the form. I think that's also important. So what I will do now is basically push my data, validate the fact that I'm okay to provide and that marketing use my data. So where is John today? Where is he go? That's basically the question, I guess. So we will go back to our portal, and in our portal, what we will do now is have a look. I'm really sorry for the white screen. This is relating to the broadband I have over here. What I do, I will directly jump into clients, and clients was the database we linked the survey to. So if we go in it, we will try to find me back into the database. So if I seek on my last name, up, that is Jonathan. And so what do we have to validate that is correctly happening over here? The first one is, of course, that one for the GDPR. It's the consent, the marketing consent, which is supposed to yes. So already a good thing. You also see that we directly synchronize the first name, the last name, and the email address, data that you collected directly into the form. You want to have a vision on history, and that is most of the time where email marketing is a bit short, maybe, on providing the global information around a customer. But if I go into my interactions, you see that I have many types of interaction, and basically I participate into a survey. That's the first thing. I subscribe to 2 elements and I provide my consent. If I go on the little eyes, I can have some details. I won't go into all the details from what we put in place for GDPR, but for example, the source of the collection, then the data collection way, and the moment. Those are really important elements out of the regulation that is pushed today through GDPR. And you see this information is ready and it's really tagged behind the consent. So normally for a customer, I would say, show it to your DPO, ask him if it's okay with that. For the prospects, jump in, let us know if we need to upgrade it. We are always open, of course, to have feedbacks about those two. So Jonathan is built, we have those consent, and we have our famous updates. We go back to our webinar now, to the other session. So once we have done a form collecting our data, another aspect of the GDPR, which was very important, was everything about documenting the information and the data. So what we've done, we upgraded our studio that we showed you the last time. And that is the studio with my central database, contact information, last name, and you see that we have some tooltips about how those fields are for what you want like to use them. And then we talked about the purple tables, so the link table. That is basically Excel sheet, that is relational data model. And this element is what your DPO will love to see. Why? Because we try to integrate everything we found in the regulation. Who's processing the data, the controller, the name and address of the controller, when was it implemented, what is the type of operation you're going to do on it. And you see that you have a very long form that you can basically fill in. Again, Nicola can provide you the right services around it, about what needs to be done in it, and he will bring it again to a more practical approach and user experience, and also that the day that you would maybe have some legal issue, you can basically show that you did everything the right way. So that is about documenting and the data mapping. I go back, I'm ping-ponging a bit so that you see how we put everything in place, of course, in the tool. I think that is very important. So I will go back and find myself because there are two major options we need to show you. One is about the fact that I can request to see my data. And how do you do that? By get in touch, with the DPO, for example. And one of the ideas, for example, data portability for us should be as easy as that. Export GDPR. You'll see we say that he will provide the export and he will send it to the transfer box. That is something I think where we went a little step further is by providing those European Dropbox directly into a tool where you need to have a login, a password, we have the session, so we can really track everything, which will be much more complex with Dropbox. I'm just exporting because I was acting as a DPO, of course, on that. I will show you in a few seconds that the transfer box already received those data. The other one is if Jonathan is requesting the deletion of his profile, if I go to delete, I can, as a DPO, provide some reasons in it. And I can, of course, if you want, in the latest, sometimes later today or after, talk about how we handle the audit trail, but I think that would be a bit boring. So in this case, I will say webinar demo. So that is the information, and I will erase my content. As you see, it directly disappears. So that means that definitely Jonathan is not addressable anymore through Actito, which is the goal of deleting a profile. So if I jump a little back, you remember I said transfer also to my transfer box. I just want to show you that it's really working. And so just going back to my portal, and in the portal, you will see that I can basically download in a zip file all the information around Jonathan. The transfer box is here. And that is the export we just did together. No, sorry, that one together because you have the moment and the timestamp over here. So if I make a short resume about what I did, we build a form together, which is compliant on the GDPR, for so far we know. We put some privacy rule where Nico will explain where he can also help you and support you into the business. I showed you that we were able to provide all the necessary information so that the DPO can operate in a more intuitive way, everything around documentation, deletion, and data portability. So that was it for my part. Of course, ping as much question as you want, and I will now hand over to Nicola, but I need to do it for my part. Sorry for this stuff. And so Nicola will take it over and explain how he can bring the technology with his expertise a step further. So normally, Nicola, you should be able to...
Yeah, I will share my screen. Thank you, Jonathan. So here we go. So now you should see my screen. Thank you, Jonathan. So I will be quick, but I will try to explain you where we can help you, especially with Actito, but also with GDPR. And to start with that, I think it's I need to give you a context about that. Questio, who we are. So we are a platform of both experts and tools for both sales and marketing performance. And when we talk about marketing performance, of course, we'll talk about marketing automation, customer journey, and also about, of course, the GDPR. For 10 years, Questio was a consulting and training company, traditional consulting company. And there's two main ideas about our approach now and about our platform, Questio Live. The first one is project only works if you are part of it. And this is really what we are doing with Questio, the platform Questio Live. It will help you to do, but we won't do on our side with what you are, with what you. Okay. The second part is as I said, we were a training company, and even if the training is great, you have an amazing training on marketing, email marketing, for example. The question is, okay, what happened after 1 week, after 1 month, or 1 year? What is the impact of this training? And what we think is it can work only if we do that and we work with you on a regularly basis. So this is the two main ideas behind Questio Live. How it works? It's weekly or monthly session, depending on the intensity, where we will help you on specific project topics. It can be marketing, can be customer journey, customer experience, it can be GDPR. We will provide you all the tools and all the experts to build this project and to achieve your goal. But as I said, the main important thing is you will do it with us, and we won't do that on our side without you. So this is a video conference, as I said, on a monthly or weekly basis, depending on your availability, your project, and your need. So basically, we have 6 main topics you can see here, but for today, we will focus on 2 topics behind marketing. It's implementation and campaign management, and data and GDPR. As Jonathan said, we are a partner for Actito, and we can help you on during every step of the project. It can be during the implementation. Actually, implementation of Actito is really easy, but there are some work on your side regarding the data, the question about the data you need, the data you want to integrate in Actito, the interface, for example, with a CRM or something like this. So we can help you to do that and to manage this part of the project. And then we can help you with say marketing campaign optimization. It can be about customer journey. It can be about the content of the emailing. It can be a lot of things. As I said, a quick example here. But the thing you have to understand, we will help your team, you or your marketing team, and we will give you the expert, the skills, the methodology, but you will do it, and you will improve your skill and your expertise on these topics. And also, we can provide daily support and help you during our weekly or monthly session to optimize your campaign and your use of Actito. So this is for the implementation and campaign management part, and for the data and GDPR. The demo was great. What you saw is that Actito did what we call privacy by design. So everything can be done in the provider. Unfortunately, it's not like that with all your information system. So you have to do that. The registry, the processing activities recording, you have to do that with all your system when you have customer data. And we can help you, of course, regarding that. We can help you with the project you want to launch regarding the compliance, and also another thing, the change management, because there's not only technology when we talk about GDPR, there's also organization, process, and people. And you can have an amazing tool like Actito. If your marketing team, for example, don't understand why you have to think about the data you will collect, why you have to provide information to the customer, and everything you saw during the demo, it won't work. It's really GDPR is about technology. This is what we saw again during the demo of Jonathan, and process and people. And we can really help you on this side. As I say, we were and we still are a training company, and we can help you during session to help your team and people around you in the organization to understand why you have to do that. So this is a very quick example of what we can do. Of course, if you have questions or you want more information, we can. It will be a pleasure to discuss with you.
Lovely. I think this is very important for all the people online. You see really how Actito is positioning himself on the part of the technology, and you see that we're getting more and more partners on board. And Nicolas is really, I think, the kind of guy that really fits the Belgium maturity. If I talk out of Belgium, of course, he's also active in France and Netherlands. You know that we are growing in a good way, I guess. But again, that is really part of our philosophy, technology with people. And that's really what we try to share with you today. GDPR, it's for us more an opportunity about how you can engage in a more relevant way, I will say, and also on that journey. And like Nicolas said, training is part of that. I'm 9 years in, and I'm always saying, if I'm not learning something every day, then I've done something wrong, because we're learning every day with you also, and try to share back to you. And as a little gift, and maybe closing session, feel free to ask questions also. I didn't know if I mentioned it at the beginning, but you see that you have the bit.ly/10 steps GDPR. It will give you access to our website, and you